What is going on, people of YouTube? My name is Gertio and welcome to another video. Now today I'm taking a slight break from Fantasy Premier League to talk about the Premier League in general. I'm going to be giving you my positions breakdown from 20th all the way to 1st, and let's jump straight into things. In 20th we have Sunderland. Even with the few good signings they have made, i.e. Yunus Kabul joining permanently from Tottenham, they lack in key areas, they lack voices and they lack skill, and I think for that reason Advocaat's men will slump to a 20th position. 19th is Bournemouth. Now I know Bournemouth have become the new Blackpool. Everyone, including myself, wants them to stay up. However, I think Eddie Howe's men will just find the task a little too hard. I don't think anything drastic will happen at the end. They'll get sacked, they'll fight right until the end, but I think in the end it'll just be a little bit too much for their side. 18th is Aston Villa. Villa have lost men with voices all over the park. Given in goal, Vlaar in defence, Delph in midfield and Benteke in striker. That's a key man in every single position of the pitch. For that reason, the lack of voices and the lack of skill and the big players they've lost, they'll hopefully won't. I do like Sherwood, but unfortunately I think they will take the 3rd relegation spot. 17th is Watford. They've signed a few decent players, they've got a very multilingual squad, and I think they'll just manage to scave off the relegation. It will be tight down there in my eyes. I think a few teams above them that I'm going to get onto in a sec will also be there, but they'll finish 17th, just missing out on relegation. 16th is West Ham. Bilic's men have struggled in pre-season and in Europe, even with the good players playing and without the good players playing. And for that reason I think they will struggle this season. They'll be right just above the relegation zone, but they'll sort of just float there. They won't get too into danger, they won't get too out of danger, and they'll get a steady 16th going. 15th is Leicester. Ranieri's men have had a bit of a struggle, a bit of a wobbly pre-season, and a lack of decent signings too could come back to haunt them in the long run, but I think they've just about got enough to stay up and stave off any relegation threats this season. 14th is Norwich. Surprising, I haven't seen too many people put them higher, but I think Alex Neil and Norwich have got a decent chance of doing well in this Premier League season. They've signed the right players with Malumbu and players like that coming in, and they've got a decent amount of strikers to the point where if every one of them's firing, they could stand a chance of moving even further than 14th. But a steady season for them, not too interesting, not too dramatic, but a steady 14th will do them fine. In 13th is West Brom. Like Norwich in 14th, nothing too dramatic, nothing too spectacular, and under the Pulish regime they'll have an average season, finishing in a nice and tidy 13th. 12th is Newcastle. They've made some good signings with Mitrovic and Wijnaldum joining, and Oliver Brolly at the helm. Obviously not as good as the best coach in the world, John Carver, but they can be looking at a steady season. Maybe positioning around 12th will be good for them. 11th is Swansea. I'm predicting them dropping 3 places from the 8th they finished last season. They won't have that much of a different season. I just feel like with a lack of decent signings and a strong and beefy squad, and also a lack of Boney, it could see them maybe not do as well as last year, but have a decent season nonetheless. Starting up the top half in 10th is Everton. Well, hopefully improving from last season, especially the first half of the season when they were dramatically poor. If they can maybe get Lukaku firing, get their defence sturdier, keep John Stones and rid of their poor form they had in the first half of the season, they can easily be looking at a top half finish. 10th though I think will be respectable, and Everton fans and players alike will take that position. 9th is Crystal Palace. They're making really good strides in the Premier League now. They have a good manager, they've made some good signings, i.e. Alex McCarthy in goal, Kabai in the midfield, Wickham up front. I feel like they're starting to build quite a decent squad, and 9th will be a fantastic position for them to finish in. 8th is Stoke. Again, like the previous 2 teams, moving up from one position where they finished last season. They're becoming the new Barcelona, aka Stoke Alona, Le Costas das Stoke, I suppose. And I think with Mark Hughes at the helm and all the players fit, they can have a decent season, even with the lack of Begovic in goal and Shawcross now out with back surgery. Butland will be able to step into the shoes and rise up, and I still think they'll be good with an attack force that is, something to be feared. 8th will do them fine. 7th is Southampton. Southampton will easily take 7th, although they've signed good players again, with players like Janami, I think? Not sure. And also Classy joining too, but losing players like Klein and Schneiderlin will pin them down a bit, but I think 7th they'll easily take. A sort of repeat of last season, but nothing too spectacular. 6th is Spurs, dropping 1 position from their 5th last season. Spurs haven't signed too many decent players, like Alderweireld has joined. They've let a lot of players go, haven't replaced them, although they've got a big squad in general, and I feel like they'll rely too much on Harry Kane, which in the end will make them fold into a 6th position. 5th is Liverpool. They've signed brilliantly in the midfield and attacking departments with players like Firmino, Milner, Ings and Benteke all coming in, but the lack of defensive options again, with only Klein coming in dramatically for the defence, and no real big, tall and voicey centre-backs, a bit like Vlaar did for Aston Villa. They'll still be wary at the back, but they'll score a lot of goals going forward. The typical typical Liverpool, in the last few years, and that will get them a nice and tidy 5th position. Starting off the top 4 is Manchester City. Not really had a good transfer season in my eyes. They've only signed Delph and Sterling, obviously because they have to with the English players rule. And to be honest, I don't think they're looking too good in the defence either. They need to sign another voice to sit next to Company. I need another centre-back. Company has not got any partnerships. Mangala isn't up to the standard, and neither is Demichelis anymore. At the defence they look worrying, however, they do look good going forward, and maybe that will save them in the top 4. 3rd is Manchester United. They've signed brilliantly in the transfer window. Depay, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger, Matteo Darmain, who I can't tell you much about him, unfortunately. But they've signed very well. Although they have lost players like Van Persie and others, they will still do well to get 3rd. They'll still have a good season, and maybe they can push higher, but I think 3rd is a respectable position for them. In 2nd is Chelsea. Chelsea, for me, haven't improved enough or at all on their first team. I think the first team, or their best first team for this season, will be exactly the same as last season, with Falcao sitting on the bench, maybe another left back sitting on the bench as Felipe Luis, and a few lone players coming back, aka Van Ginkel's even left, Moses, Marin, the usual lone players that are sent out by Chelsea. So 2nd position will be a good position for them, although they will fight for the league, no doubt. And finally, winning the league this season, which I've stuck with from the start, or the end of last season I should say, is Arsenal. They'll take 1st, and the reason for that, Petr Cech is a huge signing. I feel like even with just Petr Cech, they keep their whole squad fit, then they've got a good chance to win the league. If they sign maybe a finisher to get you goals, a 20+ goal striker, and also a big, tall defensive midfielder like the Matic from Chelsea, then they've got a fantastic chance of winning, and if they sign those 2 players, they'll easily be favourites in my eyes. And that's it for my Premier League predictions. You can see it to whatever side of the screen it is to me. I hope you all enjoy. Let me know who you think are going to win the Premier League, who's going to get the top 4 spots, and who is going to be the 3 teams that get relegated. But thank you guys for watching. If you've liked this video, leave a like. Let me know what you think on all the things I've just mentioned in the comments down below, and subscribe if you feel like I'm worthy, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.